Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari. Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana. Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana. Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Vihari. Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Paramahamsa Vrndesa Shrotra Shada Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Prabhupada, Paramahamsa Vrndesa Ashtottara Shada Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananda Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. जय जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपिता श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. हरे कृष्ण. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 2, entitled The Elephant Gajendra's Crisis. Text number 32. Namami me jnātaya aturam gajā. Kutah karinya prabhavandi mochitam. Grahena pāśena vidhaduravrito. प्यहं च तं यामि परं परायणम् नमामि मे ज्ञातय आतुरं गजाः कृतः करण्य प्रभवन्ति मोचितुम् ग्राहेण पाशेन विद्धातुरावृतो प्यहं च तं यामि परं परायणम् नमामि मे ज्ञातय आतुरं गजाः कुतः करिण्यः प्रभवन्ति मोचितुम् ग्राहेण पाशेन विद्धातुरावृतो प्यहं च तं यामि परं परायणम् विधातुरावृतो प्यहं च तं यामि परं परायणम् नमामि मे ज्ञातय आतुरं गजाः कुतः करिण्या प्रभवन्ति मोचितुम् ग्राहेण पाशेन विधातुरावृतो प्यहं च तं यामि परं परायणम् नमामि मे ज्ञातय आतुरं गजाः कुतः करिण्यः प्रभवन्ति मोचितुम् ग्राहेण पाशेन विधातुरावृतो प्यहं च तं यामि परं परायणम् माताजी नमामि मे ज्ञातय आतुरं गजाः कुतः करिण्या प्रभवन्ति मोचितुम् ग्राहेण पाशेन विधातुरावृता प्यहं च तं यामि परं परायणम् नमामि मे ज्ञातय आतुरं गजाः अपरज्ञामि प्रभवन्तु मोचितुम् ग्राहेण पाशेन विधातुरावृतो प्यहं च तं यामि परं परायणम्. Word to word translation responsively please. Na, not, mam, me, ime, all these, jnatayaha, friends and relatives, the other elephants, aturam, in my distress, gajaha, the elephant, kuta, how, karinyaha, my wives, prabhavanti, are able, mochitum, to deliver from this dangerous position, grahena, by the crocodile, pashena, by the network of ropes. Vidhatuhu, of providence. Avrataha, captured. Api, although I am in such a position. Aham, I. Cha, also. Tam, that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yami, take shelter of. Param, who is transcendental. Parayanam, and who is the shelter of? Even the exalted demigods like Brahma and Shiva. The other translation, the other elephants who are my friends and relatives could not rescue me from this danger. What then to speak of my wives? They cannot do anything. It is by the will of providence that I have been attacked by this crocodile, and therefore I shall seek shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is always the shelter of everyone, even of great personalities. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. This material world is described as padam padam yet vipadam, which means that at every step there is danger. A fool wrongly thinks that he is happy in this material world, but in fact he is not. For one who thinks that way is only illusion. At every step, at every moment, there is danger. In modern civilization, one thinks that if he has a nice home and a nice car, his life is perfect. In the Western countries, especially in America, it is very nice to possess a good car. But as soon as one is on the road, there is danger because at any moment an accident may take place and one will be killed. The record actually shows that so many people die in such accidents. Therefore, if we actually think that this material world is a very happy place, this is our ignorance. Real knowledge is that this material world is full of danger. We may struggle for existence as far as our intelligence allows and may try to take care of ourselves. But unless the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, ultimately saves us from danger, our attempts will be useless. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj says, Balasya neha sharanam pitaro nrsimha nartasya jagadamudanyadi majjato nau taptasya tat pradivithir ya iha incha cheshta tvavad vibhota anubhrutam tvadubekshitanam. We may invent so many ways to be happy or to counteract the dangers of this material world, but unless our attempts are sanctioned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they will never make us happy. Those who try to be happy without taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are mudhas, rascals. Namam dushkritino mudha prabhadyante naradhamaha. Those who are the lowest of men refuse to take to Krishna consciousness because they think that they will be able to protect themselves without Krishna's care. This is their mistake. The decision of the king of the elephants, Gajendra, was correct. In such a dangerous position, he sought shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanutam tam sajivam sadvaitam savadhutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanutamscha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पदे गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। भूतैर्महाद्भिर्यैमा पुरो विभु निर्मायशेते यदमूष पूरुष भुङ्क्ते गुणान् षोडश षोडशात्मकः सोऽलङ्कृशिष्ट भगवान् वचांसि मे। Hare Krishna. We are continuing on the pastime of Gajendra, the king of elephants. Here, Gajendra, in a very precarious situation, in the greatest danger because his life is under threat. And as it is mentioned in the very beginning of the purport, we can hear Padam Padam Yat Vipadam. In this material world, at every step there is danger. In one sense, it's very obvious, but in the other sense, we fail to recognize most of the time. In fact, how difficult is to leave this body. It can happen any time, just a blood clot in the brain. That's enough. It doesn't take a lot of time. Or, I remember, people are just playing some of the soccer matches I have heard where in the penalty kicks, those who are playing, they are hitting so hard. And one of this goalkeeper, it was a very famous match, and the person who was kicking the goal, he hit so hard, and the goalkeeper, he has to save, he has to defend. He jumped, and the ball hit his chest, and they won. And it was a big celebration. This person was carried on top as a procession. He was taken around the town. In the night, chest pain started, and then he died. Can you see? Even in the play. Anytime one can leave this world. Srila Prabhupada makes a very interesting statement. In the morning, if you get up and you go in front of the mirror, if you can see your reflection, if you can see yourself on the mirror, it means you have karma. So your reflection means your karma. In other words, your body means karma. So we think we are in a safe position. Body means karma, meaning it can blast anytime, just like a time bomb. That's how the body is. Anytime it can go away from us. We get separated from the body. This is the reality of this world. One time I read in the newspaper that a couple or a boyfriend, girlfriend, they kissed and the girl died immediately. So the boy died immediately. Why? Because there was peanut allergy. I think she had some peanut butter, and that's it. A close contact for maybe a few seconds, the person died. So in so many ways, danger can come in this world. Death, padam padam yat vipadam. This is the reality of this world. But Maya assures complete security. This is the nature of Maya. Maya means security. There may be a lot of problems, but we are very, very safe. Srila Prabhupada repeats this point in his preaching. He famously gives the example of goat lined up to slaughter. Right? He says, the goats are lined up to slaughter. You can see a goat being slaughtered, but this goat who is waiting in the line thinks that will not happen to me. He sees some green grass and eats and forgets about everything. So this is the nature of this world. So that pleasure, material pleasure, sense gratification, that is the highest distraction for the living entity. The pleasure that is experienced, the so-called pleasure that is experienced in the sense gratification is the greatest enemy of the living entity. Srila Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita purports. Very important point. It's the greatest enemy because we forget about everything. We completely distracted from the real problems. That's where this story Prabhupada tells, Vishwanath Thakur tells about the man chased by the tiger. We have all heard the story. Man chased by the tiger. A man is chased by the tiger in the forest. He is running for his life. No one can fast as somebody who is running to save his own life. Running so fast. And finally, he fell into a well. And in the well, he was falling in the well. As he was falling, he could see slowly, because it was a covered well. It was not a straight fall. As he was falling slowly, he saw a serpent waiting down the well to devour him, to bite him. And he was scared, and lucky he got hold of a rope, right? And then he looked up, the tiger is waiting there. When he looked down, the serpent is there. So it is a very dangerous situation, right? What is the serpent representing? Yes, death. Serpent of death. And the tiger? No. What is the tiger representing, waiting to devour? Huh? Death is the snake. Down. On top, tiger is waiting. That is all different kind of kleshas, all kind of difficulties. Adi Devika, Adi Bhaudika, Adhyatmika, all different kinds of miseries. Waiting. Just waiting, isn't it? It's just waiting for us, right? We don't know what's going to happen. One kind of problem to another kind of problem. In our daily life, even till we get to the point of death. So all these miseries are waiting. Just like the tiger. And then, what did he see? He was thinking, I am very safe. Then he saw two rats, right? The black one and the white one slowly eating away the rope. Then what happened? He was in anxiety. Because even if he climbs up, he cannot be saved. If he falls, he cannot be saved. What can he do? He understood. And what is the rats representing? Black and white, day and night. So the time is passing, and that is the time. Time is passing and he can fall even if he stick to this rope. And then what happened? He looked up. Suddenly there was honeycomb. A few drops of honey fell into his mouth. So then he tasted the honey. Oh, life is so good. There is no danger up, there is no danger down, there is no these rats, everything he forgot. He started enjoying life. Life, after all, life is not too bad. We say, no, not too bad. This is the meaning of this. We get a few drops of honey, we can forget everything. This is material life. There are a lot of problems, but in between, as Prahlad Maharaj says, happiness, the material happiness is that which is between two sufferings. There is a definition of happiness. Things are going okay. I mean, there is nothing positive, but in between suffering, that is happiness. Then life is very good. So this is the position of the living entity. And this is the greatest ignorance. And it covers us all the time, just like as it is my graha. Graha means graha, grahena pashena. Grahena pashena. This is like the crocodile. We are covered by the ignorance most of the time. I was hearing this, I have heard this many times. Those who are diagnosed with some terminal diseases and they're going to die maybe in 1 year, only 1 year left or 6 months left. Many of them, do you know what they do? They go on a world tour. They want to go to all the favorite destinations. Before death, we want to cover all the famous destinations. Yeah, we want to enjoy. Yeah, it is their bucket list. This is one of the famous ones is they want to travel the world. I have heard this so many times, again and again. This is the Western so-called civilization. Don't know. This is deepest ignorance. One is approaching death and it is so clear, and still one wants to enjoy the senses. In that way, forget about death, forget about the reality. Let's get into the moment, be in the moment and enjoy. This is called ignorance. So, of course, we had to be very careful not to be in this position. Of course, the devotees are not like that. If there is imminent death, we can see the activities of the devotees. That is Śrīmad Bhāgavatam right in front of us. 7 days to die. We can see the conversation between Maharaj Parikshit and Shukadeva Goswami. We can see so many devotees who have taken shelter of Dham when they know that there is an imminent death. I mean, in the last stage of life, devotees retire in the Dham. Or they, till the last breath, vigorously engages himself or herself in Krishna's service. They want to die in the battlefield. So this is the proper devotee's mentality. But we are sadhakas, so we have to be very careful, because sadhakas can very easily forget the reality, because the power of Maya is so strong, very strong. And devotees can even compare material situations and make judgment. For example, even devotees among us, we can see somebody is doing materially very well. Good money karma. Yeah, that devotee is doing very well. Big house, yeah, devotee is doing very well. So what we are saying is that because of a good material position, that devotee is doing good. This is material conception of life. No. We have to see what is the sadhana and seva. This is how we have to see whether the devotee is doing good or bad. But when a devotee is afflicted by ignorance or in material consciousness, we can see others, we can judge others based on their material situation, and one can even become envious. Because that's what I also need. I need something big materially. Or somebody is doing good, we can feel envious. So see, so this material conception is so strong. And in our stage, when we are sadhakas, we had to be very mindful, we had to be very careful. Otherwise, the crocodile of ignorance can devour him anytime, or maybe in that ignorance most of the time. One has to be very, very careful. Now here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions that Gajendra shows his intelligence. Gajendra shows his intelligence because he is in a very, very dangerous situation. That time he understands that no one material can save him, only Krishna can save him. This is intelligence. In fact, there is an interesting verse about intelligence. Esha buddhi matam buddhi manisha cha manishinam yes satyam anriteneha marten apnoti mamurtam. So this is a verse in the 11th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam where it's mentioned what is the real intelligence. What is the real intelligence? And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a very beautiful purport to this verse as well, almost the end of 11th canto, towards the end of Uddhava Gita. What is the real buddhi? What is the real intelligence? So here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives a very interesting example. He explains in this way, what is the real intelligence. He says that devotee is the most intelligent person. But why? Usually, if somebody is intelligent in a business sense, least investment but huge profit. Isn't it considered intelligence? Yes, least just $1. You can invest $1, but one can get $1 million. It's considered intelligent. So if one can invest 100,000, then getting $1 million, that is less intelligent materially. If we can spend the least but get the maximum profit, that is considered intelligence. In the same way, this verse says that the body is temporary. So the real intelligence is using that which is temporary to get something which is eternal. This is considered the highest intelligence. So he says, Yat satyam anirteneha martyena apnoti mam mritam. Mam amritam. So the Lord himself says, you can obtain me using what? Using anirtena. Anirtena means that which is not true, false, which is that this temporary material body, asat. So using this material body which is asat, the Lord says, you can obtain me. And that is considered Esha Buddhimadam Buddhi. Among the intelligence, this is the highest intelligence. Manisha cha Manishanam. Among the cleverness is the highest cleverness. That one can obtain me completely. Meaning, who is Krishna? Krishna is Shad Aishwarya Purna. He has everything. Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya Shasasriya Jnana Vairagyavashchaiva Shannam Bhaga Iti. He has 6 opulences in full. One can obtain him using that which is temporary. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says that, see this body, in Bharata Bhumi, Iha, the devotee attains me without death, Amritam, with eternal form by using a mortal temporary body. He controls me by bhakti alone. Using the disgusting material body, he attains my pure spiritual sarupa. He attains me existing at all times. By the jiva who is called non-existent because he lacks a relationship with me. See, this body is getting old. It is not very pleasant. Inside the body, how pleasant is this body? But using this body, one can get the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he says, Vishwanath Chakravarti says, this is the real intelligence. So here, Gajendra demonstrates his real intelligence. So this is verse quoted here. Balasya neha sharanam pitaro nrisimha. One can have all the solutions. What is that? He says, for Bala, for a child, Pitaro, parents cannot protect. Na sharanam. Pitaro, na sharanam. The parents are not the protection for the child. The parents alone cannot protect the child if they are going through trouble. Then all the parents would have protected all the children all the time. Is possible? No. Then, na artasya cha agadam. Agadam means medicine. One who is deceased, medicine alone is not the remedy. Then, udanyadi majjito nauhu. Majjito, one who is drowning in the waters. If somebody is drowning, having a boat alone will not save him. But what will save him? If the Lord wants to protect, such a person will be protected. If the Lord doesn't want, it will not happen. That's a Taniburdam Tot Upekshitanam. If you have given them up, if you are not protecting them, if your desire is not there, no material solution can work. So this is the point, and that's why Gajendra understood he was intelligent, so he took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as it is mentioned, because he has this bhakti credit, real piety he had, Krita Punya Punjaha, as mentioned in the 10th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, he has amassed some spiritual piety, bhakti piety. Because of that, he was able to call upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, it is not possible. Srila Prabhupada was right. Namam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradhamaha. They will not come to. If there is no sukriti, dushkriti, they will not approach the Supreme Lord. They will only try material means. And that will not be successful ultimately. Now here, Gajendra has taken shelter of the Supreme Lord in this dangerous position. But did he take shelter of the Lord before? No. He was enjoying life. He went on his picnic with his friends, with his she elephants, his wives, this, that. He was going and he was having a good time. He didn't take shelter of the Lord, but he was able to take shelter of the Lord at least at the time of need. Now, this is the difference between a pure devotee and a practicing devotee, or specifically a neophyte. The difference between an advanced devotee and a neophyte is that advanced devotee takes shelter of the Lord all the time. Vipade sampade. Whether everything is good or bad, devotee will take shelter of the Lord. That is the advanced devotee. And a neophyte hopefully will take shelter at least at the time of need. Gajendra did. That's the reason Gajendra is portrayed as an example of Kanishta Adhikari in necro devotion in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Artho Jitnyasura Artharthi. These are the people who approach the Lord for material reason. First one is Artha. Artha is one who is suffering, is considered in the mode of ignorance, in Tamogun. So that example is Gajendra. Famous example, Gajendra. He approached the Lord because of suffering. To get freedom from suffering. So this is Gajendra. But as we advance, we need to learn how to take shelter of the Lord all the time. It is part of bhakti. It is part of surrender. Rakshikshadi iti vishwaso. The Lord will protect me. So to see that, we need to see the danger every time, all the time. Okay, we have to acknowledge the presence of danger. If not, why will we think, oh, the Lord, why should the Lord protect me? Even as practicing devotees, Krishna save me. If we have to sincerely think like that, we need to see the danger in this world. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, your lotus feet, O Lord, will certainly shelter me. There are no other protectors in this world of birth and death. It's in one of the songs in Sharanagati he writes, showing that the mood of taking shelter, Sharana, of the Supreme Lord. And pure devotees recognize the danger in this world. So, as part of our sadhana, we also need to recognize the danger of this world. And if we do recognize dangers in this world, then our plans, our decisions will take care of that. It will acknowledge that, and our decision will be right, because we understand, okay, there are problems, and our decision will consider those aspects. Otherwise, one can easily be swayed by Maya. So one has to be very careful. Here the example is given of Prahlad Maharaj. He is telling, right, Balasya Neha Sharanam Pitaro Narasimha. Prahlad Maharaj prayers, famous prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. Think about this. Prahlad Maharaj was completely protected by Narasimhadev all the time because of Smaranam. He was thrown in the water, he was thrown in ocean, he was thrown in the fire, he was thrown from the top of the hill, in the snake pit, etc., etc. But all the time he was protected by Lord Narasimha. Why? Because he was in the process of Smarana. He was completely meditating on the Supreme Lord. Of course, Prahlad Maharaj is a very special, unique example, because he was not even aware of this material world. He was always with Krishna. That was his position. That is explained in the chapter, Prahlad, the saintly son, a saintly devotee of the Lord. There it is mentioned that the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu, there it is mentioned that how he was oblivious of what's going on in this world. Sometimes he will cry, sometimes laugh. He was completely absorbed in Prema Bhakti. That was his position. At the same time, now if you see, he went through all these difficulties. He completely remembered the Lord. And then the Lord appeared and he killed Hiranyakashipu. So now we can imagine he's been completely protected. And he prayed. He was sent by all the demigods. Brahmadaya Suragano Manayota Siddha. Brahmadaya, starting from Brahma, all the demigods, they sent Prahlad to pacify the Lord. Because they couldn't pacify the Lord. And in a few verses, Prahlad prays to Narasimhadev, please be pacified. And he actually gives up his anger. So now, Prahlad in a very safe position, right on the lap of Narasimhadev, in such a safe position. But hear the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. Is he saying that, now let me forget about everything? His consciousness, he still acknowledges the position of material existence. So here, this verse, Balasya Sharanam Pitro Narasimha. He says, look, if you don't protect, no one will be protected. No one can protect it. And even the few verses before, he says, Trastosmyaham kripana vatsala dussahogra samsara chakra katanat Grasatam pranita baddha swakarma bhirushattamate nghrimulam pritopavarga sharanam hoyase kadanu. He says, trastosmyaham. Aham trasta asmi. Trasta means frightened. He's telling he's frightened. Kripana Vatsala, oh Kripana Vatsala, who is very merciful to materialistic people who are very miserly. Kripana Vatsala. Why he is frightened? Trastosmi, I am frightened. From what? All the demigods were frightened seeing Narasimhadeva's anger. But Prahlad Maharaj was not frightened seeing the anger of Narasimhadev. But what is he frightened of? Trastosmiham Kripana Vatsala Dussahogra Samsara Chakra Kadanad. I am frightened of Samsara Chakra, the cycle of birth and death. Kadanad, the suffering in this cycle of birth and death. I am fearful of that. At the same time, we may think that I am not really afraid of this material world. But if devotees ask us to surrender, I am worried about that. Right? Giving up sense gratification, we feel very much threatened. This is material consciousness, exactly opposite. But it's exactly the opposite. See, samsara chakra kadanat grasatam pranitaha. Grasatam means devouring, eating. He mentioned the demons are eating one another. They are fighting. And I am being thrown amidst these demons. And I am worried about this repeated birth and death. And Baddha. So in that way I am being captured. Baddha, I have been tightly robbed. So karmabhi ushattamate yankrimulam. So karmabhi. He is not complaining because I am in this position because of anyone. So karmabhi, by my own karma. I am in this position because of my own karma. This is a very high consciousness. Even on the lap of Nrsimhadev, we can say. Just like a child, just is like a lion cub. On the lap of the lion, in the same way, Prahlad is on the lap of Nrsimhadev. Still, he is very much afraid of material existence. And he says, what is Ushattama? Then he says, Ushattama, O insurmountable one, unsurmountable one, te anghrimulam, pritaha apavarga sharanam hoyase kadanu. He says, your anghrimulam, your lotus feet. What is the speciality of your anghrimulam? Apavarga sharanam. That is the shelter for apavarga. That is the shelter for even liberation. So he says, please invite me, please call upon me to your lotus feet. Or he's asking, when are you going to give me shelter at your lotus feet? Which is the shelter even for liberation. There, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Prahlad Maharaj is telling, when are you calling me and asking me to do massage to your feet? So he wanted to massage the feet of Lord Narasimhadev. So this is the consciousness of Prahlad Maharaj. So he is very much aware of the threat of this material world. So pure devotees, they are very careful. We know famously, as Srila Prabhupada explained, that his complaint about his disciples and followers is that not enough fearful of Maya. Healthy fear is not there. And Prabhupada himself said one time that, I am praying that Maya do not take away me from devotional service. It will never happen, but still, this is the mood of the devotee, mood of the pure devotees. Prahlad Maharaj further says, even before this verse, Yasmat priya viyoga samyoga janma shogaknidana sakala yonishu dahyamana dukkhoshadam tadaham dukkham adadhyaham bhuman brahmami vadameta vadasya yogam. He says, sometimes we get what we want in this material life and sometimes we don't. But everywhere what is there? Shokagni, the fire of miseries. The Hyaman, I have been getting burnt in the fire of miseries. Isn't it? This is material existence. Shogagna sakala yonishu dahyamana, in different species of life. And dukkha tadabi dukkhamadadhyaham. Dukkha, what is the medicine? The medicine for material existence which are prescribed in this material world, that in itself is a greater misery. One solution is given for the miseries of this material world, that will give even bigger misery. Dukkha tadabi dukkhamadadhyaham. So, bhuman brahmami vadame tava dasya yogam. Please give me your dasya yogam, give me your servitorship. This is the request, this is the prayer of Prahlad Maharaj. Here, one solution, we have solution for many things that will have a side effect. Even a disease, we keep taking medicine for any disease, what will happen? There are some side effects. Even in the world we know. Food, if you see, historically we can see, that, okay, we don't have enough food in this world. So they started, we have all these chemical fertilizers, pesticides. What happened? It created some other kind of problems. We have so many diseases. Cancer, there is so much of research going on, it's so much of solution, but they have their own problems. So any problem in this world, there can be a counter action, there can be a solution, but that has its own problem. That is the nature of this material world. Anything which is not connected to Krishna will react. First canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Anything which is not connected to Krishna will react. That is the nature of this world. So there will be an action. Even a solution will have a reaction. And no one can avoid it. That is the nature. And ultimately, the solution is taking shelter of Krishna. And that's what Gajendra has done. And again in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, great devotees remind us about this. Uddhava, associate of the Lord. Again, almost in the conclusion, or in the middle we can say, of Uddhava Gita, he says, Tapatrayena abhiyadasya ghore santapyamanasya bhavadhanisha pashyami nanyacharanam tavangri dondadapatrat amrita bhivarshat. Uddhava says to the Lord, one who is suffering in this material world, tapatrayena abhiyadasya ghore, is fierce suffering of this world. Santapyamana, who is Santapyamana? One who is lamenting because of the miseries of this world. He says, I am not seeing any other solution than your lotus feet. What kind of lotus feet? Amrita bhivarshat. He says there's a speciality of Krishna's lotus feet. Amrita bhivarshat. Dvanta atapatrat. He says that because tapatraya, tapa means heat. So it's a nice analogy is used to show that the world is scorching heat. It's being burnt in this heat. So the Lord's lotus feet is like an umbrella, atapatram. What kind of atapatra? Amrita bhivarshat. That which showers nectar. The umbrella that showers nectar, that is Krishna's lotus feet. So Uddhava says, other than this, there is no other solution. So very poetically he explains, the solution is this. There is no other solution. He further says, Shiraso matpadayo kritva bahubhyam cha parasparam prapannam pahi mamisha bhidam mrityu graharnavat. In the section of deity worship, Uddhava again says, the Lord himself says, that a devotee should go in front of the Lord, go in front of the deity when you worship. Place your forehead at the Lord of the feet and hold on to the Lord. Bahubhyam cha parasparam. Hold on like this, parasparam. And then pray in this way. Prapannam pahimam isha. Oh my Lord, please protect me because I am most fearful of this ocean of material existence, standing as I am in the mouth of death. So this is the way one should pray to the Lord. So this is a reality. This is acknowledging the danger in this world. So the Lord personally instructs, because we may not be able to touch the Lord or place our head on the feet all the time. Maybe part of the deity worship, generally may not be. But we can pray in this way to the Lord. We are doing the deity worship by seeing the Lord, taking darshan of the Lord. We can pray to the Lord, please help me because there are dangers. And your lotus feet is the only solution. And what is the real solution? Padam padam yat vipatam natesham. The lotus feet of the Lord, taking the shelter of lotus feet of the Lord. Meaning, going through the process of devotion service. That is taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. As it is coming from the Acharya. That's the verse, Samashridaye padavallava plavam mahat padam punya yasho murare bhavam budhir vatsapadam param padam 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 yat vipadam natesham. Padam padam, how many? 7 times it is mentioned. Padam padam yat vipadam natesham. You want to take, what is that? Samashridaye padavallava plavam. Padapallava plavam. Consider it compared to a boat. If you take shelter of that boat, whole bhavam budhir vatsapadam. The whole ocean of material existence becomes water in the hoof print of a calf. And for such devotees, no vipada. There is no danger. Of course, the material body will go, but the Lord will protect the bhakti. The Lord will take care of us. This is the point. Same point is mentioned in the prayers of the demigods. Toyambujaksha akhila sattva dhamni samadhina veshita cheda saike totpada podena mahat kritena kurvandi govatsapadam bhavabdhim. Same point. Kurvandi govatsapadam bhavabdhim. You will make govatsapadam bhavabdhim. The whole ocean of material existence, that is bhavabdhi. That becomes govatsapadam. Just becomes just as small as the impression of calf's hoof print. That's it. This is the Lord. So this is the process. And the next verse is even more interesting. Swayam samuttirya bhavarnavan bhuman bhavarnavam bhimam adabhra sauhrada bhavat padamboruha navamatrate nidhayayata sadanugraho bhavan. It's a very interesting, very important verse in this connection, because the demigod says that yes, the Lord's lotus feet is like a boat which can help us to cross the ocean of material existence. And it's mentioned that Adabhra Sauhrada, who are the great devotees of the Lord, who are in such a deep friendship with the Lord, they cross the ocean of material existence using the boat of your lotus feet. But after that, that method by which they crossed this ocean of material existence, they leave behind that boat for us. Nidhaya yataha. Nidhaya means leaving behind. Yataha, they cross over, but nidhaya, they leave it for us. And then they say, Sadanugraho bhavan. Indeed, you are very merciful to your devotees. So great devotees, they cross the ocean of material existence and they leave behind us the process of devotion service through their instructions, and by which we can also cross the ocean of material existence. This is the process given. So that process is starting from hearing and chanting about Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, doing service to Krishna. So this is the process, and that is available for us. So here Gajendra concludes, no friends, none of his wives can save him. Nobody can save him. Only the Supreme Lord, who is mentioned as Param Parayanaha. Paraha. Paraha means supreme, transcendental, referring to the Supreme Lord. And Parayanaha. Parayana, you might have heard this word, Narayana Parayana. Parayana means what is one focused on? Narayana Parayana means one who is completely absorbed, focused on Narayana. That is Narayana Parayana. Here, just the word Parayana is used, but why? Param Parayana. One who is completely taken shelter of the Supreme Lord. So he says, he understood that I am in this position because of vidhatu ravrtaha. Vidhatu. Vidhi. Because of the vidhatu is referring to one's own karma, destiny. As Prahlad Maharaj explicitly mentioned, so karma bhihi. In the same way here, Gajendra is making the same point, that I am in this position because of my own karma. And that is a big step in devotion life, to accept karma, that I am in this position because of me, not because of anyone else. So in other words, all devotees, we are in our perfect situation. We are in the association of the devotees, and whatever material condition we are in, that which is actually ordained for us by the Supreme Lord. It is karma and also it is the hand of Krishna. So that is vidhatir avartaha, api aham. But what I am doing, param parayanam yami. I am surrendering unto the Supreme Lord. So in this way, eventually he will pray to the Supreme Lord. That is the next chapter, prayers of Gajendra. And finally, the Lord himself protects Gajendra. So this is the beautiful section of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Hare Krishna. Is there any questions or comments? Okay, Sivya has a question. Do you have anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the nice class.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, the verse when you were mentioning how the root cause of our sufferings in this material world is ignorance. So I was thinking how come, how the devotees are very near to Lord Krishna, who are not in ignorance, but are above the three modes, they also get suffering. So what is their cause of suffering?
We get suffering because we are in the material body. The point is, how do we respond to suffering? There will be problems in this life. That is unavoidable. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi, in different shapes and forms. It's applicable to everyone. Krishna acknowledges. Dukhalayam. But how do we respond to them? That's the position of the devotee. So what Krishna protects is the devotion. And material body Krishna will not protect. Because it is in a protected state in one sense. The body is there. It will merge into different elements. That is the nature of the body. It is combined and it is going to its source. That's it. So not necessary that, in other words, ultimately the body will not be protected. It will go away. So the devotees know how to respond to the suffering by taking shelter of the Lord. And for that, because we can very easily forget Krishna. And the solution is we had to hear repeatedly. We had to be in touch with Krishna through hearing and chanting and in service. There is no other way. We had to be reminded because the nature of ignorance is forgetfulness. And because of forgetfulness, we forget again. So we had to be reminded that even where there are difficulties, we had to take shelter of Krishna. So that is the point. So Krishna's mercy, what is Krishna's mercy? When we go through the difficulty, Krishna's mercy is that we'll be able to think about Krishna. That is Krishna's mercy. Be in the association of the devotees and engage in the process. As Prabhupada said, one can tolerate anything in the association of the devotees. So yes, our prayers to Krishna. Second, most importantly, the association of the devotees. Prabhupada said, one can tolerate anything in the association of the devotees. So we need the association of the devotees. We may have suffering, but with association we can keep going in our bhakti. So in other words, Krishna is protecting our devotion, we are able to keep going in our bhakti. So that's what we can expect. We don't have unrealistic expectations.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions, any other comments? Okay. Thank you very much. Grantharaj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare